Hey Bobby, how are you?
Matt, how are you? Good.
I'm good. At Oliver, a lot of noise last week. I told Sean I thought a lot of times when players face tough questions, it's easy to have short answers. He stood there, he answered every single one of them. What did you see from him last week in the way that he took ownership and then the way that he played and responded?
Yeah, I think, every season's different for every player. And, you know, no past season has anything to do with any season moving forward. And that's game by game, and all those things. And I think what you just saw was Ed was Ed Oliver. And, he found his rhythm. He found his his flow and he got in it and it helped us.
Sean said last week that when asked why Kaiir Elam hadn't been active for a few weeks, he said everything's earned. And Kaiir talked about it last week and said he's doing everything he could do to get ready to play. What did he do to earn that opportunity? And then how did you feel like he did?
Yeah, I thought Kaiir did some good things. I thought he did some good things. Obviously, every player, you guys know when I sit here, every player's got things to improve on. But um, you know, Kair's been working at practice, working in meetings, and all those things. And we talk about work while you wait. He's been working while he waits, and you can only be ready for when your opportunity comes. And like I said, there were some things he did really well, and some things that he could improve on, and that's every player that played yesterday. So, just went through our process like we always do, and got his opportunity, went in there and did some good things.
Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it.
Got it.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey,
When
Sal.
when you look at the numbers, right? It's not what a defensive coordinator thinks of, to allow 500
No.
passing yards or whatever it is. But you got the win, and you had three guys out in the secondary. The guys who played didn't allow big plays over the top. I'm sure they did a lot of what you wanted them to do. How do you, as a defensive coordinator, kind of reconcile that? Of course, there's a lot more that goes into it than the numbers, but when you look at it, you say everything kind of to me, it seemed like you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish, but you also have these big numbers on that side of the ledger. How do you reconcile that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sal. And I think the way you look at it is this: you really look at it through, you know, the first quarter, through I believe it was somewhere around a minute 30 left in the third quarter. We gave up the explosive on the third and long, which certainly there's, I could put them in better position, and there's things we can do better within that play to limit that, even if they convert it. You know what I'm saying? And, after that, it really kind of, the game started to fluctuate, and it was finding, you know, what they wanted to do, get our players in the best situations possible, and manage that with the players that were in the game too. You know what I mean? And trying to put our players in the best position possible. So I talked about going into that third quarter with about a minute and a half left. And then, the fourth quarter turned into what it turned into. We know they're an explosive offense, and certainly I can put our guys in some better positions, do some things a little differently, but that's how I discern that game. Obviously we can't allow a team in a 2-minute passing situation to go up and down the field on us. We can't do that. And that starts with me. And so that's the way I'd look at it, Sal, from what I talked about to that, past that point in the game.
So I guess is it more about it's not about the totality of the numbers. Those are going to happen. It's more about the moments, right? And the situations, correct?
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. And it's a fine line between being aggressive, and aggressive enough, and all those type of things, and how you want to defend that situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And certainly that was a unique game. And like I said before, everything falls on me. And obviously, past that point in the third quarter, there's some things that I feel like I could do better.
And then, so Cole, we see him last time we see him is in Houston. You have the big play over the top to Nico. There's some miscommunication there. Can you tell us what you saw from his growth from that game to this game?
Yeah, it was tremendous. There's still a lot of room for improvement with him, but he played confident. He played more physical, and it was fun to see Cole, take a next step and have the opportunity to take that next step, and how he handled it, and that's a credit to Joe, Dana, having him ready to go, and specifically with not a lot of practice in there.
Yeah.
He's obviously been practicing and getting reps throughout the year, but you really wish you had 3 days of practice, for his situation, but handled it great. There were some things in there, like I said before, that he did really well, and some things that we need to continue to grow on, but it was good to see.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
Hey, Bobby. I was curious, following up on that, what was this week kind of like for you, preparing without the normal practices, and then knowing that you were going to be without a couple guys and a couple other guys being out? Like, what was this week kind of like for you preparing for this game?
Yeah, Lena, it's a good question. So it was interesting. Coming off of the previous game before the Lions game, there was definitely things we knew we needed to get improved, and things like that. We wanted to focus on those in the time we had available. And then, our expectation is that any player that goes in is going to perform at a high level and at our standard. And so when it came to new players and all those things, yeah, you have an idea of the players and what you can do and who's available based off different things you want to do, packages and those type of things. But it was an interesting week, that's for sure. But we've dealt with those weeks before here. We're in Buffalo. We know we know what this time of year looks like, so we're ready for anything.
And then I just wanted to follow up on Kaiir too. Coming into the game, like, what was he doing in practice or the last few weeks when he was inactive, like, that made you feel like he had earned this start?
Yeah, he just continued to work. Like I talked about before, he continued to work, and obviously Rasul being down last week, that gave an opportunity, and he got his opportunity, and did a pretty dang good job.
I know you talked about Ed already, but the defensive line as a whole, getting a couple guys back for this game, did you feel like that helped? That was a boost? Like, how'd you kind of look at how they performed?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime you get some of your guys back, it absolutely helps, and it was good to see all those guys contribute and be able to help us, in the victory. So, anytime you get some of the players that you had leaned on before back from injury, it doesn't matter the position, it definitely helps.
Thanks, Bobby.
You got it, Elena.
Hey, Bobby, continuing with the defensive line, how can you guys just build off of that performance last week now that you have healthier guys and the defensive line is back to being fully healthy? How do you build off of last night's performance?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we stay in the process that we know for us works, and anything that I tell the guys all the time, anything that that you think has worked for you within that routine, that process, whatever you want to call it, bottle that up, and make sure you store it and take it with you, and no matter the opponent, no matter the week of the season, once we find our groove, we need to stay in that groove, and it's very important. And I think it's just don't change too much. Just stay with what's worked.
What is essential to staying in the right groove as you guys finish out the regular season and push into the playoffs?
Yeah, you know what? That's a good question, because I think that there's areas in our game right now that we need to get a lot better at, and I think there's areas in our game that, like I said before, we need to bottle up and take with us, and I think it's a heavy dose of emphasizing what we know has worked for us, and then also emphasizing what we know that isn't working for us right now. And we got to do a good job of identifying those both ends of the spectrum, and build on one and strengthen the other.
Thanks, Bobby.
You got it.